Hello, it's Lauren Moraski, and you're watching Build Series live in New York City. This next act, based out of Nashville, gave their first ever live performance at the Grand Ole Opry just over a year ago. Now they're readying their debut full-length album, Canyons, for a June 12th release. Please put your hands together for Colby Calais, Justin Young, Jason Reeves, and Nellie Joy of Gone West.
Hi.
Hey guys, welcome to Build.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I mean, is it unbelievable that it's just over a year ago you did, your big debut at the Grand Ole Opry. You've known each other for quite some time, but has it been a whirlwind for you?
It's been a whirlwind, but it's also been a really long time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, we've been friends for 15 years, all working together, and we started writing for this album about 2.5 years ago. We released our EP a year ago, and now we have our new full album coming out in a couple months. So there's just been a lot happening.
Yeah, to catch everyone up, there's a lot going on here. We have engaged couples and fiancés. We got a married couple on stage and longtime friends and collaborators. So set up like how you all came to be, just for folks who are just getting to know you.
Well, hi, everyone. Okay, so back in 2005, Jason and I met. He moved from Iowa to Southern California, where I'm from, and we wrote my first album, Coco, together, and we've just been writing together ever since the past 14 years. And during that time, I had Justin join my band. I was a fan of his Hawaiian music, and he played guitar and sang in my band. We got to tour the world together for a couple years, fell in love, and we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary together in the fall. And during that time when we were falling in love, Nellie and Jason met in Nashville.
Yeah, so I've been in Nashville 15 years, and Jason came out, and I was his first co-write there in Nashville. And you want to tell the rest of the story?
What is the rest of the story?
I know you always get mad when I say it. You say it.
Well, okay, so what she's going to say is that I had a crush on her. But that's so true, so there's no need to deny it. Basically, I'm really lucky. My first co-write ever was Colby, and my first co-write ever in Nashville was Nellie. Very lucky.
He has a type for co-writes.
But yeah, we became friends. We didn't date for a few years after we met. We wrote a lot of music together. That was an incredible time. And then eventually, I guess maybe you just gave in or something, and patience paid off.
It's a war of attrition.
Yeah.
We've been married now 8 years, so.
Congrats on 8 years and 10 years together. That's amazing. I mean, especially in this business, traveling around a lot. What was the tipping point for you guys to decide, okay, I mean, we have all of this talent. Let's make a band. I don't know.
Well, I don't know that we really thought about it like that, but thank you for saying that. We had been joking about it and just talking about how fun it would be to write a song together. And we had already sang together when we went out with Colby on the Malibu sessions. It kind of sparked the idea of us maybe doing something together. But once we wrote our first song, which is called When to Say Goodbye, and is coming actually on the full-length album, which is so rare. You write your first song and it never makes the album. But we all loved it so much, I think that hearing our voices back on tape together, we kind of knew this was something special and we should try running with it.
Was there a hesitation on anybody's parts? Okay, like I'm good. Like Kobe, you have a very successful solo career. I'm gonna put that on hold for a second to jump in with 3 good friends and people. And what are my fans gonna think about it?
Well, I always wanted to be in a band, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity. I took a little break from my solo career, and we moved to Nashville and wanted to try living somewhere new. And Jason and Nellie were the reason that we moved there. We, got to meet so many musician friends and just get to know a new city, which was incredible. And so, I think it was just this natural progression, like we said, like from the past 14 years of knowing each other and working together, and then living in Nashville and doing that Malibu Sessions tour, and then being in a room writing songs together. It was just something fun that I always wanted to experiment with and be in a band, and so it's been fun.
I got to talk about the album. What could have been the first single off the new album that's coming out. We've heard it before, but it's so great. Can you set that song up, because it's about a heartbreak, but yet here we are, 10 years, 8 years over, and you guys are all together and happily, well, seemingly happily, but you're tapping into emotions that a lot of people feel during heartbreak. How did you evolve that song?
Yeah, it's a song we wrote with Jamie Kenny. He also produced it for us, and we went into the studio that day. He had listened to our EP in the shower that morning and sat down at the piano right after that, and the first thing that came out was, "We left blood on the tracks, blood on the saddle." And he sang that to us, and we immediately loved it. And it's funny, we are in, happy relationships. So we've all experienced sort of that sense of regret when you look back at a relationship and like, man, if I just would have said this or done this or changed this, maybe things could have been different, So I feel like everyone can relate to it in their own way.
Yeah. I mean, that could relate to a lot of different things. It could be, the job that you didn't get, or maybe the friendship even that, that went by the wayside. So I totally can relate to that. Gone West, I keep thinking in my head, Go West, but it's Gone West.
The 80s band.
The 80s band. And but it's really significant for you all. Can you talk a little bit about that? And there's a song, Gone West, as well, that kind of you described as your theme song even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we all live in Nashville now, but we're all from west of Tennessee. She's from California, I'm from Hawaii, Texas, and Iowa. So we're not in Nashville. We've usually gone back home or gone west. And that song particularly is unique because we wrote each verse separately, and we wrote it for our person about going to their hometown and bringing back the best that it had to offer back to Nashville.
What, you have 4 songwriters in a room, right? And I'm sure you've been asked this before, but like, what is that process like? And how do you decide, who's going to do this lyric? Who's going to, be the lead? Because you all do take turns on the lead. And, how did that come together in the studio or outside the studio?
Well, every time it's like a new experiment, no songs are the same. Like, they never come out the same. I just thought of this when you asked the question, but it was kind of like 4 hands on one paintbrush on a canvas. Like, imagine trying to paint a painting with all of us holding on to the brush. You kind of have to like get on the same page and be like, all right, we're going to paint a flower now. Yeah. Let's all try to move our hands together and put a daffodil in the corner or some Bob Ross thing. But no, I mean, it took a while to learn how to get into that process. It's not always easy, and sometimes it's so easy you don't even know you're doing it. So I feel like by the end of the record, we became really comfortable doing it, and we should start another one.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, we were really we tried to stress that we should all love every line and every melody, and so it took time. Our the producer of a co-writer of what could have been Jamie, says that we have a high pain threshold because we're not just there to write a song in 3 hours and go home. Like, if we have something good, we want to labor over it and make it as good as it can possibly be. And it really is a true collaboration. We all want to agree and love every bit of every song.
Well, that's important. I think that does come through with the songs that the fans and, I've already heard. It's really powerful. And the harmonies, my gosh. Can you talk a little bit about that and how it all comes together? Because it seems so natural.
Well, I'm always on top.
Yeah.
I'm the high harmony. And then, it's always fun to figure out like who's singing lead on what songs, and what could have been, I think, my favorite story to tell about that, because we at first thought it was just going to be a female vocal top down. And then we decided, I don't know whose idea it was, but someone suggested, trying to hear Justin sing it. And then we threw all of our harmonies on the chorus of that. We're like, oh, whoa, this is special. But what if it's a duet back and forth and both these people are feeling the same exact thing and they don't know it? And so I just think like little twists like that make a song, from good to great, hopefully. And this single, definitely, I think that was a good example of that.
Yeah, and it's super fun because like we all get to sing lead on different songs, so it keeps the album really interesting. And I personally love it when we're playing shows live and we get to we do our part and then we get to sit back a little bit and watch someone else perform. And I think it makes it special and unique that we all get to take our own parts. And honestly, every song has been so different in figuring out who sings what harmony or what part of the song. It takes a lot of experimentation.
And don't get the wrong impression. Some of these songs, after we record them, we have to play them out. The first time we run them down, we're like, how the heck are we going to ever sing this?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work too,
Yeah, sure. Because you've been playing some of these songs live. You opened up for a few people recently. Reba McEntire.
George Strait.
George Strait, my gosh. And soon to be Kenny Chesney. Is that?
Yes.
So, okay. So anything you learned or any highlights from opening up for a George Strait or a Reba?
Well, I'm from Amarillo, Texas. So when George sang Amarillo by Morning, my heart just exploded with joy. And I don't know, hearing his voice in a live setting, it's incredible that at his age, I don't know how many years he's been doing it, his tone still comes through and it's crystal clear. I think it's even better than on record.
Yeah, I learned that, you know, if your songs are good enough and your voice is good enough, you can literally just stand in a massive arena full of people and sing your songs, and that many people will come watch you. Like, I don't have anything against fireworks and confetti. I dig that stuff.
Better not.
But
Pyro.
if your songs are good enough, you don't need anything. You can just stand, because he essentially just stands there and plays his songs on guitar with his band, and it's an incredible thing to watch.
Yeah, so super talented. Has been in the business for so long. Kenny Chesney too, huge fan base. What's it going to be like going out on tour? Like, how are you going to translate this album and the challenges of, you know, the harmonizing, whatever it is, live to probably a big stadium, big arena?
It's a good question. I mean,
I think that show is going to be perfect for us because we're all beachy and love sunshine. So I think we should just like take our shoes off, get on stage.
bathing suits. I don't know.
Yes. I like where this is going.
Amazing. I mean, so back to the album. We heard the EP last year. What else can we expect on the record for songs that we haven't heard before? Because it's country, but it's you change it up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we have a really fun song. It's a reggae country song. It's called Knew You on the record. And actually today with the Instant Grat that just came out, where if you pre-ordered our album Canyons, you got the first song, Slow Down. And it's a new song. And it's like this fun kind of like classic rock kind of feel to it. It's up-tempo and I don't know.
And Vince
Yes.
Gill is playing a solo
Oh,
on that.
yes.
All
How could I
right. So
forget?
how did that all come about? Vince Gill playing guitar on your song.
Well, we reached out to him and, didn't necessarily think that he was going to hit us back, but he did. And when, he was like talking about what huge fan he was of our music and all this stuff, I just thought, well, he's letting us down easy. He's just going to say like, thanks for asking me to play, but I'm really busy right now. But he was just like, so when do you want me to do it? It was literally that simple. And so, yeah, we're really grateful to have him as a part of our first album because I think he's definitely legendary and we look up to him not only as a musician, but also as a human. So
This is not your first collaboration. I mean, obviously, famously with Jason Mraz, you did a song back many years ago with Taylor Swift. What was it like, kind of like, what's it like, teaming with those folks versus, now teaming with these guys?
Every collaboration is completely different. And I mean, one that Jason and I were super stoked on was we got to work with Babyface and we wrote my song Try with him. And I think it's just amazing because you have all these people that they're either writers or they're producers or they're, just famous artists that we've all looked up to. And to get to collaborate with them and learn from them in the performing aspect and in the room. And, everyone writes songs differently. And it's really cool because we can learn from each other and challenge each other and inspire each other. So it's always just like a really cool experience.
Take me back to the times when because you co-wrote her first album, right? That was like the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Take me back to that time because it was like, we're talking MySpace, we're talking pre-streaming, first album out of the gate, hits. What was that like? And, working together and then becoming, getting hit singles.
It was still my favorite album to ever record because we didn't know we were recording it. Like, we had no intentions of what we were doing. We were writing songs in Southern California, mostly in my backyard, my parents' backyard, or we'd drive to Malibu. And we'd go back to Thousand Oaks, and the guy, Michael Blue, it's actually his birthday today. Happy birthday, Michael. He ended up producing Coco, and we would just go and play him these new songs, and he'd be like, let's just record a real quick. It was just this fun process, and there was no scheduling with it. There was no stress involved, and it was just, 5-minute drive from my parents' house to the studio, and it was just, we were 20-year-old kids having fun.
It was my first time in California, really. I think I went there maybe on vacation when I was young to San Diego once, but actually staying there for a long period of time, I had never really experienced mountains that go into an ocean before, and it was really blowing my mind. I think that's really what inspired me the most, besides her, just her voice and her spirit. Just being in California as an Iowan, I mean, I had never been very close to an ocean in general, and that changes everything. You guys have an ocean kind of close.
We do. Long Island, there's an ocean. Kind of close.
It changes the vibe, honestly. Like, it changed the way I write music. There's a lot that has happened to a lot of people. Many great songs have come out of California for a reason, and it's the atmosphere.
Did you know at that time, okay, this is something super special. This is, I have a feeling, bubbly, whatever the song was that, at the time that you thought this is going to be a hit?
I mean, I was so excited to be in a real studio. Michael's studio is so beautiful, and just the time we spent in there, it was kind of like being in some sonic wonderland. So I didn't really think about what would happen to the songs. I just thought it was a very magical time, just in general as a creator.
Colby, what about you? What was going through your mind during those days?
It was just so special. We had no intentions behind any of it, so it wasn't like we were trying to create a certain sound, and we weren't knocking on record labels' doors or anything like that. It was just this really unique, magical experience that was. We were we were kids that we were just getting to go in the studio for free, for fun, and record these songs and just bounce these ideas back and forth off of each other. It was just the three of us, me, Jason, and Michael, for that whole album.
It's crazy. And now, how many years later, now we have this new band, and it's kind of a cool new evolution of your career and all of you playing together. I have to ask, we talked a little bit about this earlier about, being two couples in a band. Really, what's it like? I mean, to be, you're just spending a lot of time together. You're working together, you're living together. What's going on behind the scenes?
Anyone want
It's really hard. No, we're all used to working together as couples, so it's kind of a natural. We started working together for many years before, we fell in love, and same for them. So it's actually would be hard to not be with your person when you're traveling this much and you're putting so much time and energy into something. So I think it's really, and making music together is an intimate thing, like being creative, and you're with people that you're close to and you're safe, feeling vulnerable with. So I think it helps.
Yeah, you were talking a little bit about being from the West, and you're talking about the beautiful space in California, et cetera. But now you're all, housed in Nashville, very cultural scene there. Of course, today we have the tornadoes. So thinking about folks there today, but. In Nashville in general, can you talk a little bit about the scene and what inspires you? Because this is a country record, but it's got a little different flavor, and you all come from different backgrounds in terms of music.
Well, I've lived in Nashville for 15 years, and I think my favorite thing about Nashville, Tennessee is the songwriting community and just how much they care about, the lyrics and the people that we've gotten to work with. Liz Rose, Tom Douglas, these are people that literally every single word of every single line has meaning, and so I just feel like we're really blessed that we got to collaborate with literally some of not just the city's best, but I would consider them like some of the world's best songwriters. I just feel like it's like Nashville's the heartbeat of songwriting in the world. So
Yeah, well, I think it's special because it's so small. Like it's becoming a big city now, but especially 10 years ago, it's a very small town. And compared to LA or here, where everyone's kind of spread out and you can drive an hour and not even be to your friend's house yet, everyone is right on top of each other. And when I moved there from LA, you can feel that energy. It's very vibrant, and it's really inspiring to be living or even just staying in the middle of that kind of creative force that's just happening every day. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say the same way that he said California influenced their record. I think Nashville is almost like the fifth member of the band. And, being creative in an environment, it infuses itself into what you're creating, whether you intended to or not. So I'd say that, it's just intrinsic in the music, the fact that we were there working with these people that are so embedded in the city.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about the state of country music today? What artists are you inspired by, or in general, it doesn't have to be country music. Who is inspiring you today?
Well, in regards to country music, I think what's so cool about the climate right now is that you can turn on country radio and you can hear anything as diverse from Chris Stapleton, who we love, to Dan and Shay, who we also love, and even
Maybe
though
some women in between there.
yeah, and also yes, Maren Morris, and all these different artists are so. They're not necessarily anything alike, yet they fit in the same space, and that's, they tell stories. Their songs are about storytelling, and they're authentically who they are. And so I think it's a great place for what we do. And yeah, I'm excited that they've embraced us so far.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned like other women. It's, you know, you want to hear women on country radio. There's a lot of talk about that. It's nice to see a group with women and men getting the start there. You know,
50%.
right.
We're going to help those numbers go up.
But yeah, is that something that you think about? Just being in that scene? It's, you know, people talk about it a lot.
Well, I got my start in a country band that was just two girls, and that was actually, let's see, 8 years ago, and I think the climate then was even more dry, if you can even imagine that, than it is now. And so I'm just excited to see all these new up-and-comers that we have, like Casey Musgraves, that are just really, truly paving the way for the next generation, the next wave of women. Like we have Ingrid right now that just came out, Ingrid Andress, and then Gabby Barrett, who are literally brand new, but changing the genre overnight. And so I think it's actually heading in a great direction.
I was just gonna add to Neil Towns, like she's
Yes.
her voice is
Love her.
incredible. These women that can just play guitar and just belt out this, just the female vocalists in country music are absolutely top notch.
Yeah, and you've seen it from both sides because you're in the pop space and now you're tapping into the country music space. So you've seen all parts of that. So that's really interesting. Well, our time is up here, but we have some questions from the crowd. So
Yay.
let's get it started. Josh is first.
Hey guys, I cannot
Josh.
wait for the album. So, what is your writing process like as a group, and how do you find that like really special groove that resonates with each one of you?
Good question.
That's a really good question. You know, every session is different. Every song is different. Some songs, like What Could Have Been, we wrote really fast. It was really easy and natural. And then the song we released today, Slow Down, that was actually like an excruciating session. It was like 8 hours or something of
We
like,
slowed it down.
yeah, I mean like 5 hours of nothing, and then the last 3 hours we wrote the song. So I mean, and you know, sometimes we'll start a song from scratch in the room together. Sometimes one person will bring an idea in, or you just bounce ideas off of each other.
I loved how we wrote Confetti too, because that song we had like the instrumentation. Eric Arges is who we wrote that with, and he had like this cool beat going and this instrumentation that inspired all of us to kind of throw melodies at it, but then we still didn't know what we were saying. And then Justin had this line that he had got from, I guess, what Colby's family, you say, like they use the word confetti in regards to like, let's throw confetti at something like as a compliment, but then Justin took that and twisted it and said, no tears fell, just confetti, in regards to like a breakup. And I just about fell out of my chair because I don't know, I thought it was so funny. And then the rest of the song wrote itself really quickly. So
Awesome. Thanks for that question. We have a second question from Christine.
Hey guys, thank you so much. My question is, what's your process like in the studio creating together?
Process in the studio, like. We work a lot of times in pajamas at our houses.
With our dogs.
With our dogs.
yes, the dogs,
real.
you might hear them on the record in the background breathing or
I mean, in like a real studio, we probably only spend a couple days, I'd say.
But like, you know, the guys, they play guitar and all these instruments on every single one of the songs. Nelly's a great engineer, producer. I mean, everyone adds all these different things. I mean, we produced half the record by ourselves without another producer in the room. So it's really just all the years of experience that everyone has had with engineering and producing and being incredible musicians. And then the harmonies are.
And via email. Sometimes we don't even leave our houses to drive
We're
to
too
like,
lazy.
each other's house. We'll just like Dropbox stuff, and then they'll add some stuff and send it back to us, and we'll send it back. So it's fun. It's a fun creative process.
My favorite musician that we got to work with on this album is this Justin Shipper. He's a steel player. And I had never really put steel on any of my albums, and then come to find out the steel guitar actually came from
Came from Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
So it just made so much sense, like, as we're blending all these genres together, that we lean on someone like Justin Shipper, who really understood kind of what we were all going for aesthetically. So yeah, that was really cool to like see him throw it down.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that question. It sounds super organic, and fans will get to hear the whole album in June. So thank you so much for coming by today.
Thank you all.
The new single is called What Could Have Been. Please put your hands together for Colby Calais and Gone West.